Nick, one of the things that we have our greatest problem with here in this recording studio is that we run our tape off our small spool when we re-listen to it. And Henry and I, with our bony fingers, never seem to get the damn thing back on the spool. Therefore, tonight, we are leaving on some music that was recorded many months ago, and I'm trying a new theory where I spot it on the big spool by the writing thereon, and hence stop before Gramp has a fit, and Sarah and everybody else who's watching.
Nick, Sarah, Bill, and I are here in the big house on May 20th in the evening, and we thought we'd give you a little chatter. As you know, Henry and Anna flew to Berlin on Friday, arriving Saturday morning around noon. We've had postal cards only from Ireland. Then I had a postal from your father today from Olympia, Greece, where he and your mother are evidently almost camping out and having a glorious time amid glorious scenery and wonderful weather. They say in the evening they chatter with the Greek gods, and I hope your father isn't falling in love with some of those Venus-like Greek beauties. Take it all. I'm ashamed to say I haven't written any letters to them yet because I've had some trouble with my eyes and can't see very well in the writing line. But from everything we hear and from the program they sent us before they left in Paris, they should indeed have a most exciting month in Greece. I don't know exactly when they return to Paris, but it's sometime around the middle of June, I think. We will try to get a letter off to them very soon, and of course miss the opportunity of talking to them on the tape. Now, as to yourself, you must be having a pretty bad time of it, and I often think of you. But the worst may be over now, and at least you're getting accustomed to all the infirmities of a badly broken leg and the horrid realization that you won't be able to do really what you want to do for some months to come. Before Henry left, he made a wonderful jump in his business activities by getting the firm of A.G. I forget the name, but it's one of the largest Chicago firms with a big office in New York, San Francisco, and wires all over the West, including Cleveland, Detroit, etc., etc. It will add probably 30% to their business and keep them mighty busy, although they now have 4 seats on the stock exchange. They expect to take in another partner with a 5th seat. The reason I'm talking about this to you is that they have arranged with the American Telegraph Company to install one of their very latest up-to-date wires from San Francisco, hooking in all the different towns and cities to Chicago, and finally to Cleveland and New York. This wire operates entirely on its own. A man writes the order on a piece of paper in San Francisco, shuts it up in a box, and the same handwriting comes out at Henry's end of the wire on the New York Stock Exchange, and transactions can be made within a few seconds. Some going, I'll say, and one of the first of these wires put in to the actual wire operator on the exchange.
Hello, Nick. We're just back from Bermuda, and we're happy and glad to be back, but we had a wonderful time down there. We had a beautiful little cottage right on the south shore of Bermuda, right on the seaside with the surf beating up, and it couldn't have been lovelier. We had our own little terrace where we could sunbathe, and about a 2-minute walk to a beautiful half-mile beach, which was almost our own exclusively. And one of the nice things that we learned down there was to make a big, tall, cool planter's punch, so that when we came back, we brought our quota of liquor, and not scotch and not bourbon, but in Bermuda, Barbados rum. So we've already had a few pitchers full of that beverage, and we just hope our friends this summer are going to like to drink rum. If they don't, they're going to have to go elsewhere for their cocktails. Can I say any more? Or?
Yeah, you can say, please join us.
Yeah, please do come down and join us. We'll mix you up the biggest, best drink you ever had. It was awfully nice to get back, because while we were gone, or before we went, we put in a lot of seed and a lot of plants, so we were awfully curious to see what had happened. So the night we got back, Bill and I took a lamp, and we went out and walked all over our acres to see, and everything seemed to have grown about 2 feet. We were awfully excited about it. All through?
Good night.
Good night, Nick. Come down soon.
Nicholas, this is coming to the end of the line, and I say we hope that things are going better with you. The latest hot dope about your sister Lucretia is that she is driving up in her new second-hand car this Saturday to spend the weekend with Gramp. We are also looking forward to seeing her. She seems very excited and feels capable of making the trip by herself. We are at the end of the line, so I say good night to you from Sarah, Dad, and myself. P.S. We think the name of the firm that Dad referred to on the stock exchange is A.G. Becker. Bonsoir, old boy. Until the next one. Nick, I'm coming in here to start this new tape off, having just heard your marvelous one about your skiing experiences and your accident. I feel like you're really Uncle Heel, who has kidded you for so long about writing letters, and now when you get your knee or leg in a jam, I don't do anything about it. I really apologize, but yet my heart has been thinking about you, and I've talked to Lucky, I've talked to Dad, and Sarah and I really feel that you've been a great sport about the whole thing. Dad has just been giving us elocution lessons on tape recording. We don't have the music background that we should tonight, but he says that every now and then we should have a little viva-vie and a little something off just the monotone, which probably I produce personally all along the line. Tonight, gathered around me, we have just heard your recording, two of Marion's and Doc's, which incorporated the Queen's ceremony in Paris, and etc. We have Dad and Joan who was his nurse and is still one of his best and loveliest friends. And we are sitting in Henry and Anna's living room, living it up, old boy, about 10 o'clock tonight. Henry and Anna are in New York, and having talked to your sister the other day, I got a little interruption and lost the tune there for a moment, but Gramp has bought your sister Lucky a new Ford car, which she is going to pick up next weekend. In the meantime, previous to that, Sarah and I have got a wild idea, and we are off to Bermuda for 10 days. When all of this settles down, Lucky with her new car and her new second-hand car in Georgetown, and Sarah and I back from Bermuda, I have all good intentions of heading for Boston to visit my friend Bob Stewart. When we do that, we will certainly call on you and see that one-legged man at his best.
Hi, Nick. Golly, we were sorry to hear about your bad luck. Last night we had kind of a fun evening. We had a young gentleman, a customer of Bill's from Scott Paper, who came over with a young lady from Wayne, Pennsylvania, and came over for dinner. And after dinner, he said, "Come on over to my bachelor quarters in, I think it was Villanova, and see some skiing movies." And they had just gotten back from Switzerland. So we got the full treatment. And I think weren't you over there last year in Switzerland before you went out to Aspen. So we really saw what it was like, and I can see, perhaps, I'm not really convinced, but maybe this breaking of a leg is worthwhile after those 4 wonderful days that you had.
Part way along here, we were all yakking when I turned this thing off, and Dad was thinking up a naughty story to tell you. And actually, we shouldn't have turned the tape off at all, because it turned into a lot of laughter. But in the few seconds, you're going to hear from Gramp giving you a small story about a small...
Hi, Nick. We just bust the tape, and Bill had to patch it, so that's what held us up here for a little while. I want to tell you that I should have written you long ago, but somehow or other just didn't get around doing it because I broke a blood vessel in my eye and I haven't been seeing things too well. However, this is a much better way to get in touch with you. The essence of all our thought here is that you've been a damn plucky kid about the whole business. And I myself take my hat off to you. It must be pretty dreary going at times. And I know there must be some pretty black hours during all these days. That story that Bill referred to came from New York via Henry. And the question was, what is a crummy little bastard? The answer is a little boy eating crumbs at his mother's wedding. Just to keep your timetable in mind, Sarah and Bill, I should say, leave on May 2nd by plane for Bermuda, returning May 12th. Henry and Anna probably take off by plane for Germany around April 15th, returning about June 5th. They are going over to see Franklin Pepper, his 2 children, and his wife. It sounds like a pretty complicated maneuver, as they will only be over there 10 days. but they expect to go to Portugal, and your mother and dad are trying to get them also to go to Greece, which I'm afraid is out of the question. Again, I send you all my love, and as the tape's nearly through, I'll sign off.
Hello, Nicholas. I feel like I know you. I've heard so much about you, and I'm very sorry about your accident. This is Joan. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that. I took care of your grandfather, and I keep paying him visits back again to see that it's still in good shape. I would like to. I promised your grandfather I'll come up and take care of you, and I think you're perfectly safe as long as you've got one leg in the air. That's the kind of patient I like. But actually I prefer them also with a broken arm, so I probably won't come after all. I'm sorry. Your grandfather said I'm supposed to tell you my not very vital statistics, which are 34, 26, and 35 at this moment. The only other ambulant member of the family here is Larry, and he says hello too. So I'll say goodbye to you, and I wish you a lot of luck, and hope you'll get better soon.
The one thing I've learned tonight, Nick, is, and definitely from Sarah, that I'm not a very good recorder man, because if I had kept this machine going all the time and kept the mic open, you would have gotten a hell of a lot more laughs than you've gotten out of this sort of ad-lib conversation. We have been talking off our chests, but there have been a lot of guffaws here and there. Now that we close, I say again to you that we really are close to you, and we will be closer, and although we're off for a while, but I do hope that Sarah and I will get up to Boston this spring. God bless you, boy, and if there's anything you need,